Now, imagine living to the age of 100 and beyond. Well, try 500. Google Ventures is pouring millions of dollars into the goal of dramatically extending human lifespan.
Just in time to have the Internal Revenue Service jump with joy at the prospect of being able to tax people for hundreds of years, not just decades. We find ourselves once again facing the future with the realization, and I keep saying this, and no one wants to believe me. This is Google's world, and we just live in it. Lab coats all around. Welcome back. The Newsmax deputy health editor and co-author of the DaVinci Baby Boomer Survival Guide. Nick Tate joins us in studio. Also the man carrying the stethoscope, figuratively, would be board-certified emergency medicine physician, surgeon, and consultant Dr. Peter Hibberd joins us here in the studio. Gentlemen, good to see you both again.
Good to be back.
I said figuratively, of course. I was hoping that you'd bring it with you just in case, because I was near death a few days ago.
Glad you're back.
Thank you.
Well,
thank you. Here's a good way to go ahead and keep paying that money. Google. Now, this is interesting because I found a Google exec saying this. This is Bill Maris from Google saying that you can live to be 500. And I wanted to point this out. He says in 20 years, chemo will seem so primitive, it will seem like using a telegraph. How on is he?
You know, it might be, let me just jump in here. It might seem surprising that it's Google that's here, but it's not, in fact, a surprise. Google has been putting a lot of money into genetics research and to stem cell research because they see there's obviously a tremendous market and the way to really help. And so what Maris is really talking about here is a new kind of treatment for cancer primarily that relies on boosting the body's own systems to target cancer. So it's a very different thing from chemo or radiation or surgery.
Well, it's probably a combination of all these. I think the biggest revolution we have is to realize that our T cells may offer the secret to immune surveillance and cancer prevention. And there are a number of other new gene-targeted related therapies aimed at targeting our T cells and figuring out what part of the cancer cell is able to turn that T cell off so it can't defend our bodies. So as a result, we've seen a whole, potentially a reclassification of malignant disease.
I don't know about you guys, but I see some people who are 70 and they don't look good. I would not want to see what they look like at 470, as a matter of fact. Next up, a Harvard study, statins, and a lot of people take statins anymore. Statins improve the cancer survival rate in the prostate cancer. How does that figure? How does that work?
Well, the research looked at people who were taking statins, and what they think is happening is that the statins in treating cholesterol, lowering cholesterol, also have an effect on hormones in the body. Now, prostate cancer cells are fed by androgen hormones, testosterone, and one of the principal ways of treating prostate cancer is to give medication to patients who have it to lower their levels of those male hormones. What they're thinking is that they're not sure yet, because this is preliminary research, but they think that the statins may have some effect in lowering those hormones in the same way that this cancer chemo works. But they're still trying to figure that out.
I think I wish it was as simple as that. It's not quite. We can measure levels of the hormones, and they don't seem to be changing a whole lot. But statins have peculiar properties. They seem to be anti-inflammatory. They seem to be they manage to reduce heart disease and plaquing, and the fact that they change the malignant disease and then inflammatory index markers are all part of how malignancy spread too. I think it plays into a bigger picture. And it's true that you do block cholesterol synthesis, and cholesterol is the basis for many of our basic hormones. But I believe we're going to find out it's a lot larger picture than just that.
And inflammation is a big part of that, knocking down inflammation, do you think, with cancer and other diseases?
Well, inflammation may be a way that malignant disease is able to spread and turn our defenses off. So perhaps we're on something right there.
I only got about 30 seconds left. I'm going to get a quick comment from you on this one. Losing half an hour of sleep can have long-term consequences for body weight and metabolism. Boy, people who work in the news industry are in big trouble here.
That's right. I mean, what it shows is that it really changes your metabolism when you just lose even a little tiny bit of sleep. So the problem is that during the week, people tend to cut back on their sleep and catch up on the weekends, but that doesn't really work. It contributes to obesity and diabetes, according to this latest study.
By the way, just out of curiosity's sake, how many hours of sleep a night do you you get?
Not enough.
Doctor?
I'm always telling my family I need more sleep, and this obviously tells us I need more.
But does anybody really get, I mean, they always used to tell us 8 hours sleep. Nobody gets 8 hours sleep anymore, do they? Come on, out of this world.
I think some people do when they have conditions that they want to control. If there are many health conditions that if you get sufficient sleep on, you don't need to medicate yourself as much. I mean, this goes from psychiatric disorders, bipolars. All these people can manage their environment and reduce their medication reliance.
Hold that thought. We just got to take a break, come back. For everyone proud of themselves at being able to quit smoking thanks to a certain drug, hey, kudos on your decision. But maybe you might want to choose something other than Chantix. We'll tell you why. Let us return to the laboratory. Welcome back to Newsmax Deputy Health Editor and co-author of the DaVinci Baby Boomer Survival Guide, Nick Tate. And the man next to him, board-certified emergency medicine physician, surgeon, and consultant, Dr. Peter Hibberd joins us here in the studio. Gentlemen, let's get right to it. The FDA has updated the label for the prescription smoking drug Chantix, warning it could change the way the body reacts to alcohol and on rare occasions lead to seizures. This is going to have a lot of people rather shaky at this moment.
This drug had something like $650 million in sales last year alone, so it's a big one that's out there. Now, it's as the doctor will tell you, this has always had some warnings about some psychological problems that it can sometimes cause, but the latest warnings are about seizures, particularly for people who drink. They can black out, become aggressive, so it's kind of ramping up the warnings.
But get into that, doctor. This is not really anything new. I mean, doctors have known that there's a side effect, a tremendous amount of things that could happen with this.
We've known about Chantix problems for years, many years. And many times I've had patients come to me wanting it, and I've had to tell them, look, you're a pilot, and this is not something that you're permitted to fly with. You can't fly on this drug. Now, some of these things were not evident on simple reading of the insert. You had to be in on the knowledge of the drug. The bottom line is truckers, people who need concentration, and certainly when you place others at risk in what you're doing, shouldn't be on this drug generally, because it's hard to predict who's going to have problems and who isn't. You really can't.
Easiest thing to say at this point is if you want to be on Chantix, check with your doctor. Let your doctor be the one to tell you yes or no.
Absolutely.
Okay, that makes it simple. New class of drugs, according to the Mayo Clinic, can slow aging. Well, let's see. Wait a minute. We were talking about living to 500. Now we're talking about slowing aging. Which one's better here, I guess?
Well, this is moving on some of the same in the same direction as the efforts that are being made to extend life through using the body's own cells, genetics, immunotherapy. What the researchers from the Mayo Clinic and the Scripps Research Institute found is that there are certain cells in the body. They're called senescent cells, I believe, and what they do is they stop dividing as we get older. They accumulate in the body, and they can contribute to disease and aging. But they have found some drugs that they're calling senolytics that actually target and kill these age-related cells so that they don't cause damage to other cells nearby. Now, this is bench research, so we're years away from you going to your doctor and saying, hey, I want one of those anti-aging pills, right? But it's certainly pointing us in a new direction that may help us live longer.
Let's rephrase that. Our cells age and have an aging cycle. We have an immune system.
And we can't stop them.
We can't. Well, we might be able to delay them.
Okay, delay them.
We can't stop
them.
Right. So the cells, as they age, senesce. So those are the senescent cells. So your healthy cell, baby cell, if you like, starts with stem cell, gets into a specialized cell of whatever tissue it is, and then it senesces. And our immune system's job is to clear those senescent cells out. When it fails, senescent cells actually start to lose their regulation, and that's part of the crossover, perhaps, between malignant disease and age-related cells that won't go away.
All right, I got 1 minute left. One great last story. A trained dog, a scent-trained dog, detecting thyroid cancer in human urine samples. God, I love those puppies every single day.
Yeah, right.
How is that? I mean, but dogs have such attuned sniffers, if you will, that they can...
That's right.
This isn't the first time we've heard stories like this.
The human nose has about 5 million receptors, scent receptors. A typical dog has 200 million. So what's happening is with this dog, his name is Frankie, he's a German Shepherd mix, was able to sniff out basically proteins in urine of thyroid cancer patients. Now, this is not the first time. They've had other dogs that have sniffed out prostate cancer as well as, I believe, ovarian cancer in the last couple of years. So it's a sort of a low-tech, cheap alternative to biopsies.
Well, I like the idea of using dogs. I always think it's good to have dogs in the house, or pets, not necessarily dogs, but in this case, dogs. Remember that we use dogs also with people who have other disabilities. People with seizures often will carry a dog that will warn them that they can see signs in their master of a problem. So the innate sensitivity of the dogs to sense things is fascinating.
Just keep them around all the time. That's all. I got 2 of them at home. They're going to keep me healthy. That's the best part about it. Nick, thank you. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us. Once again, don't forget the DaVinci Baby Boomer Survival Guide, co-authored by Nick Tate. Get your copy today at babyboomers711.com. We'll take a break, come back, and continue with Outland right here on MidPoint.